Hello and welcome to another episode of Crizzy Books. I'm Crizzy, or Criz, but only my homeboys call me Criz. It's October. The spooky season has begun. And so I think it's only right that I start reading some horror classics and we can talk about them, right? So a long time ago, I found this very old 1903 edition of Edgar Allan Poe's stories. This is volume 3. I don't have the other 2 volumes. Now, I don't consider myself to be some kind of Poe expert. I read a couple of his stories in high school because I was forced to, and that's not to say I didn't like them. I just have not read anything of his since then. But one thing that I don't want to do is to only read the greatest hits, because that's not fun. Because then I'm just going to be comparing everything after that to the best thing that he ever did. I don't want that. I want to get into the nitty gritty. I want to read more of the deeper cuts, maybe some of the things that people aren't familiar with. So inside this book, there are several short stories. This starts with the narrative of A. Gordon Pym, which appears to be a whole lot longer than what I'm willing to read right now when it comes to Poe. So I'm going to hold off on that one. But I do want to read all the rest of these because I haven't heard of a single one of them. And the first one on this list is Ligeia. So let's talk about it. Ligeia is a short story by, obviously, Edgar Allan Poe. It was published in 1838. And in this story, our narrator, who is unnamed, we don't know who he is, he describes to us the love of his life, Ligeia. Her perfect features, especially her eyes. Her eyes are like orbs, and he goes on and on. She's not totally traditionally beautiful, but to him, the most beautiful thing ever. And she almost kind of sounds alien. She has larger eyes, kind of more pronounced features than a normally beautiful person would be considered to have. This dude is hopelessly, pathetically in love with her. They marry. She then becomes ill, and while on her deathbed, with her last remaining breaths, she recites a poem about play in a theater with mimes and all kinds of things, when up from the earth springs a beast from the depths of hell that devour everyone in the theater. This beast being the conqueror worm, and the play was called Man. And then she dies. And this man dives so deeply into depression and grief. He becomes addicted to opium. Eventually, he remarries to a woman named Rowena. He kind of hates her, and she doesn't really like him either. And I think that a lot of this has to do with the fact that he's an opium addict, and he is obsessively missing Ligeia. And I think it's just completely affecting any type of connection or relationship that they could have. And eventually, Rowena too falls ill, and she dies. And while her dying is happening and occurring, the man is seeing visions of apparitions that he's not quite sure what they are. As she's drinking, there are red drops that are falling into her cup. He's seeing, ghostly apparitions around the room. And then Rowena dies. And he stays with the corpse for a very long time and thinks that he starts seeing it reanimating. Her eyelids will flutter. Her face will begin to look younger and more full of life. And then it will go back to being dead. And he just stays in the room watching from afar, paralyzed, cannot believe what he's seeing. Or is he seeing it? He doesn't even trust himself because of the opium. And at the end, the body gets up and it walks to the middle of the room, and it sheds a lot of the sheets and things that were adorning this dead body, this corpse of Rowena, and is revealed to the man that it is Ligeia. For being a more obscure Poe story, and it being a long time since I've read Poe, this was pretty decent for what it was. It's about a man who is completely obsessed with a woman, even though, did I forget to mention, he doesn't know her last name, ever. Which begins to beg the question of, is she real? Because the way in which he describes her is almost otherworldly. And we know at the end that he's addicted to opium and is having trouble even trusting his own perception of reality. So why should we? He's a very unreliable narrator, and that makes the story very interesting. And for me, that was really what hooked me into it was the mystery behind this woman and the death of his next bride, when he's talking about seeing these drops fall into her cup as she's drinking, as if they've appeared from nowhere. It makes me wonder, did he actually see that? Was it him? Is this kind of himself removing himself? Did he poison this woman and she died because he's just not interested in being with her? He just misses his former wife that much that he would murder this one that he's clearly not connecting with? Or did it actually happen? Did he actually see this? Did a ghost do this? And I do really like the spooky and macabre imagery of it. The poem about the conqueror worm was really cool. What is a conqueror worm? I have no idea. And the corpse of Rowena standing up and walking to the middle of the room. Very, very spooky, very cool. But this story itself is a little less scary and more about love and grief and loss and sadness that never really ends. And it's really taken over this man's mind and kind of driven him almost to madness. Overall, I'm going to give Ligeia a 3.5 out of 5. I thought that this was pretty decent. It's not bad at all. It's well written. It's short. Check it out if you're looking for a pretty good, nothing too crazy side story, deep cut from Edgar Allan Poe. But what do you think? Have you read Ligeia? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you madly in love with her? Sound off in the comments below. Let me know if there's any other deep cuts, maybe some underrated stories from Poe that I should check out. Once I'm done reading all the short stories in this one, I'm going to be looking for more. So hit me up, sound off, let me know. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and as always, thank you for watching. Bye.